Postgraduate Enterprises has gone into liquidation today.
Hello, Bombay? Yes, Raghavan. What has been happening about last month's sales figures? What? What do you mean we've had no sale for the last 2 weeks? What about all this equipment that we've been receiving? Yes, last week we sent you some television sets. Just a minute, I'll give you the position on that. Hello, yes, what was the position of supplies to Bombay? Okay. Yes, last week we sent you 400 sets. And what's happening about them? And what about your returns? Well, will you kindly let me have that figure as soon as possible? Call me after lunch. All right. हाँ ये क्या? Thank you. All right, people. Now, our sales target for next month, 5,000 TV sets.
But sir, our monthly performance average over the last 6 months is 1,500 sets. How can we increase our sales output 3 times without any transition, especially when the market continues to suffer and slump?
Sir, don't you think we need to plan systematically?
Plan? Planning is intuitive. Anyway, let me handle that part of it. Yes, Krishna, you're the marketing expert. What plan can you think of for 5,000 TV sets next month?
Strategy is very simple, sir. Kill the competition at any price. Offer attractive incentives to dealers, trips to Hong Kong, Singapore, Maruti cars. And of course, advertising is very important, sir.
Sir, where will we get the funds for necessary raw material and for recruiting new personnel? Above all, is such an expensive advertising campaign necessary for a company like us? We already read in the bank, and our creditors are howling.
You accounting chaps are only bothered about figures. You don't understand that today is the world of media. Get attention at any cost. Let the scheme succeed and all will be well. Our bankers will be happy, our competitors will be green with envy, and at least our creditors won't be on our backs. That's it then. Our target is settled. 5,000 sets. Now go out and sell.
You see, gentlemen, what happens to an enterprise when its decisions are taken in a whimsical, unplanned and ad hoc manner? The resultant chaos could seriously damage the enterprise. It is only when the various operations of an organization are considered in relation to each other, when a decision is taken keeping in mind its impact on the organization as a whole, when future objectives are seen from the viewpoint of the corporate entity, that one comes close to understanding and applying corporate planning. Experts like Friedrich Kloot, Stephen Kaufman and Stephen Wallach have talked about the 4 phases in the evolution of corporate planning. Before the 60s, planning was viewed as a financial problem. Procedures were developed to forecast revenue, costs and capital needs 1 year in advance. Expense budgets were developed on an annual basis and information systems were designed to support actual costs against budgets. Thus, the value system was meet the budget. The second phase comes in the 60s when budgeting enters a longer time frame. The value system in the 60s, or the second phase of the evolution, was predicting the future. Forecasting tools like trend analysis, regression models, and simulation models were widely used. Past experience was assumed to be a reliable guide to the future. The third phase brought about an external orientation to planning due to increasing uncertainty in environmental trends. For example, the oil price shocks of the early 70s seriously disrupted the industrialized economies of the West. In the 70s, it was no longer possible to predict the future based on past experiences. So, plans contained a thorough situational analysis of the business environment, the competitive situation, and strategies. It represented a leap forward in planning capabilities, and the value system was thus, think strategically. In the last and final phase, there is a well-understood and agreed strategic framework for planning linked to a strategically focused organizational structure. In the 80s, strategic thinking capability is widespread. The planning process requires negotiation of objectives based on reasonable alternatives, a performance review system that focuses on top management's attention on key issues, a motivational system, and management values that support the strategy. There is close involvement of line managers in strategic planning. Thus, strategic plans are linked to operational decision-making, and the value system of this phase is create the future. So what does corporate planning in action look like? Perhaps an analysis of the operations of Bharat Heavy Electricals Limited, a leading public sector enterprise, would prove to be instructive. BHEL serves the core sectors of the national economy, that is, energy, industry, and transportation. With its manufacturing and service divisions spread nationwide, it manufactures products as varied as power transformers, seamless steel, tubes, oil rigs, solar heaters, and windmills. With exports ranging through 45 countries, BHEL today contributes nearly 1% of India's GNP. How then does BHEL go about its planning? One distinctive feature is the incorporation of planning divisions at each level of the organizational hierarchy. This ensures that management at all levels is constantly probing, diagnosing, and analyzing significant internal and external events which affect the objectives of the company. What are these objectives, and how does one achieve them? To determine this, the top management of BHEL takes 2 full days. Inputs for this meeting are prepared by the corporate planning and development staff at the corporate head office. These are, number 1, identification and evaluation of the strategic posture of the company. Secondly, environmental scanning analysis carried out by the planning groups at all levels, focusing on the economic, technological, political, and social environment. In terms of corporate planning theory, we would call this SWOT analysis. For example, in the early years of BHEL, the environmental variables which were identified as important were an emphasis on nation-building activities, non-availability of contemporary technological know-how, low level of domestic technical base and skills. On the other hand, the major environmental variables of the 1980s are tremendous technological change due to VLS and microchips, increasing competition from within and outside, higher levels of customer service, declining investment in the Middle East and global recession, currency fluctuation, a strong yen and a weak dollar. It is in relation to these environmental trends that BHEL formulated its objectives. In the 60s, developing a strong infrastructural base was a primary objective. In the 1980s, the focus is on exports and market orientation. This exercise results in the conscious realignment of goals to match the changing environment. It is here that the importance of management information systems is to be stressed, since gathering, identifying, and analyzing pertinent data can only take place if the information flows and processing criteria are well designed. These inputs enable the top management to lay down the broad directions of the company. A detailed exercise to assess the existing and potential business of the company follows. Since the business sectors, power, industry, and international trade are continuously interacting with and responsible for the markets, this exercise is primarily their responsibility. Meanwhile, a similar exercise for finalizing targets is carried out by the corporate planning staff.
In planning the total turnover and operations of BHEL, power sector is really very important for us. It constitutes only about 2/3 of our total operations, and it is linked with the national economy. We have to see the additions to the installed capacity in the country which are likely to come up and base our plans accordingly. We have various sources of data on this. What do you think, Mr. Das, how we should go ahead and scrutinize these figures?
I think we should start with a look at the past and try to analyze as to what has been the trend of growth of capacity addition. And if you use this trend analysis, this represents about 54% growth of capacity addition. And with this percentage, we are likely to have around 35,000 megawatt in the 8th year.
But you see, the Advisory Board on Energy, constituted in 1995, has come up with two scenarios. According to the first one, the power requirement by the year 2005 will be of the order of 1,52,000 megawatt if the economy grows at the rate of 4% per annum.
I had a meeting in CEA. The CEA officials are of the opinion that during the 8th plan, the installed capacity additions would range somewhere between 40 to 45,000, and during the 9th plan, it would range between 50 to 55,000. What do you say, Kamal?
Yeah, if we look at the projections made by the working group on power, in my estimate, the additions could be anywhere between 35 to 38,000 megawatt.
I would like to make a suggestion here that while fixing our one targets, instead of fixing one target only, we should set 3 levels. We can say one high, one medium, one low. The idea is that while achieving our target, we should make effort to achieve the higher side, so that at least we end up with the medium one and ensure that the low side is. It should not happen that we should go even lower than the low side.
Above inputs are presented as a business scenario for the next 10 years at a 2-day conference attended by a wide cross-section of company personnel. How does BHEL manage to effectively coordinate the efforts of its various manufacturing divisions? Firstly, it exposes all its divisional line managers to the same set of business projections at the business scenario meeting. Secondly, a standard set of planning guidelines is issued to all the planning divisions. This results in the various divisional plans being molded from a similar set of projections, yet with enough flexibility for each division to incorporate its distinct requirements. It is this exercise which streamlines BHEL's planning process. At another level, and almost in tandem, the technological aspect of the environmental analysis is being carried out. Technology being a critical input in BHEL, it is vitally important for the organization not only to be aware of technological changes, but also to decide upon a course of action, that is, development or acquisition. Who decides this? The marketing managers of the major business sectors, the products managers and the research and development managers. Their assessments, along with alternatives for technology acquisition and development, are presented to the top management. In the course of environmental scanning, the corporate planning staff uses sophisticated techniques like SWOT analysis, model simulation, decision trees, and network analysis. In the next stage, the divisional growth plans are generated. This is a classic example of the bottom-up and top-down approach followed by BHEL. On the one hand, each product manager draws up the growth plan for his product area. On the other hand, a task force consisting of divisional top management and product managers draws up the overall divisional growth plan, taking into consideration resource requirements, new products, additions, etc. The corporate functional groups give the resource analysis inputs. This is an iterative process between the divisions and the corporate functional groups. This is the stage where each divisional executive submits his plan to the chairman and directors of BHEL. This is also the point at which the choice of strategy is of vital importance. Deliberations to finalize strategy take place at the senior level. An interesting example of strategy formulation is the manner in which BHEL achieved market orientation. To enable it to tap the various internal and export markets successfully, BHEL restructured itself and created specific business sectors: power, industry, and international trade. The divisional plans are incorporated into the sectoral plans, which are primarily market-oriented. Since each sector is dealing with the market, it also develops product-wise marketing strategies. Finally, at the head office, all sectoral and functional plans are integrated into one consolidated plan known as the draft corporate plan. The plan then moves to the chairman managing director and directors of the management committee. Finally, approval from the ministry is sought. And to make sure that the plan is executed as per schedule, the master plan guidelines are incorporated into the annual operational budgets. Thus, short-term implementation takes place always in relation to the long-term objectives. Let's recapitulate the process once again. First, there is an analysis and evaluation of the present strategic posture of the company by the top management as follows. Establish corporate goals and objectives. Business assessment and planning guidelines. Along with it, a detailed environmental analysis is carried out, which is made up of making environmental assumptions and the study of SWOT. In the subsequent stages, divisional plans, sector plans, and resource analysis are combined to determine the possible strategies, which are then evaluated. Later on, the functional plans are drawn up. All these are integrated into a corporate strategic plan.
The development of complex, high-tech, multi-product, profitable organization like BHEL is an example of what a corporation can achieve through the process of corporate planning. BHEL has been fortunate in having early leadership which combined vision with the skills in corporate planning. This process has been in vogue in this organization right from the inception, but it was formalized in the year 74. There is a total integration of the process of planning throughout the organization. The strategies and the broad philosophies, they are enunciated at the top. The implementation process starts from the grassroots levels, and it is this process which is widely accepted and prevalent. The overall corporate plans in the company have given rise to individual, discipline-wise long-term plans, whether it's in the areas of finance, technology, or productivity. We have been able to record a sizable improvements in our operations over the years. We are diversified in many areas in line with the country's global requirements. The technology has come from the world leaders, and this family of 75,000 strong today is ready to play vital role in the overall development of the economy. The process of corporate planning is flexible and it is reviewed from time to time to meet the dynamic changing environment.
Let us hope that the use of corporate planning in India becomes more widespread, as it is likely to bring several benefits to the organizations practicing it.